Welcome to Foam to Fortune, the ultimate podcast for spray foam insulation industry. Whether you're a contractor aiming to take your business to the next level or a vendor bringing innovation to the market, this is the place where success stories are shared, insider tips are uncovered, and the industry secrets are revealed. Join us as we dive into the journeys of the spray foam pros who turn their dreams into thriving empires and discover tools and strategies to build your own path to fortune. Ready to elevate your spray foam game? Let's get started. Foam to Fortune, where innovation meets inspiration. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Foam to Fortune podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, and today we have an amazing episode with Mr. Mark Gordos from Tampa, Florida. What's up, Mark?
How we doing, spray foam fans? I'm glad for the opportunity to come out here and meet a lot of people and share my trials.
Yeah, for sure, Mark. I know you know a ton of people that are tuning in, but there's a lot of people that don't know who the heck Mark Gordos is. I know that's hard to believe, but Mark's been in the business almost 30 years, you guys. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about your background and your history.
Well, I stumbled into the insulation industry by accident. In my first week, I was introduced to spray foam, and it scared me. I was 22. I was just going to school for sustainable energy and looking to be an indoor or an outdoor guy. And then necessity said, "Hey, go get this job." And so I went and got a job that I just saw a sign. And next thing I know, I'm seeing the science behind a building and a structure and things of that nature. And I started to actually like what I was doing. We moved from foam to bats, back to foam. And then when I moved to Florida, I really fell in love with it because the money tripled. So yeah. Up there, you're paid hourly, really low minimum wage, barely $10 an hour. Down here, you were paid piece rate. So the more you did, the more you made. The downside of being piece rate is a lot of people in Florida do what's a cram and jam, and they weren't even doing inspections in the area until 2003. So I took it upon myself, because I like to be a steward of whatever I'm doing, to always focus on quality. So in that 30 years, I was with a small family-owned company, and he blew up to be one of the biggest, baddest companies in the area. And he was eventually bought out by ABS Southwest or Southeast, the Sullivan Brothers, and then bought by True Team. So it was nice being a part of that growth and seeing how that company grew and what he did. So when I did finally make that leap for myself after True Team, I had a lot of experience in the industry. I knew it. I knew the science well. I was already a BPI building analyst. And the science really, I got sick of people saying, "You're just an insulator. What do you know?" So I'm like, well, I'll go get the piece of paper. And they actually reconfigured their weatherization curriculum based on the things that I provided. So I helped Job Corps locally here develop a curriculum for weatherization. And then through our technical colleges, I went through their weatherization program, and they backed off on a lot of things that they were getting from the book, because I tried to explain to them, well, what's a real world application in Florida look like? Because we don't have these. We do have some grand attics, but a lot of our homes are low profile, low pitch, because we have hurricanes. So we gotta pick our poison. So these homes are tight, so you see a lot of reverse stack ventilation, things like that. So falling in love with that, when I was able to open my own company, I kind of knew things to stay away from. So like I wasn't chasing every retro application. I'm like, those could be ugly and you can make someone sick quickly. When you're dealing with a retro application, you better know the science. This is not something for a money grab. New construction, you know what? You can do that all day long. It's being inspected by someone before it's covered up. So there's hope that not bad foam is going to get installed. But most of these inspectors don't know what they're looking for. They look for a certificate, piece of paper, and a fire stop. And if as long as the fire stop's done and the certificate's in the permit box, it passes.
Wow.
So they, I did have one today. He asked for a certificate, which was kind of surprising since we only did under a balcony. But everything else was bat. I'm like, you're not asking for my bat certificate? Because I got one of those too. But he's not asking for it. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you both. Oh, there's a bat certificate? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All insulation requires a certificate stating what was put in there.
That's funny.
You get away with it with non-permanent jobs and things like that. But any job that's Energy Star, any job that's being done by the city, their checklist states needs to have a certificate, needs to, be done by a licensed professional. But if you don't license people, what are you going to do?
True. So, it sounds like you got the start in the business, Mark, just due to necessity, needing to get a job. But what's keeping you committed after all these years to this business? It's obviously you've had, I'm sure, many opportunities to piece out.
Yep. So I could leave today if I needed to, but I am really in love with the industry and what it's done for me that I want to share that. So like Spray Foam Worldwide opened so many doors for me as far as meeting people. And a few of them just gave me that extra nudge and we took the leap. I did it with a deposit check and a borrowed rig. And now we're a multi-million-dollar company. We had 7, 8 installers, 4 rigs. Not running all 4 of them right now, but the market's a little tight. We got a lot of franchise businesses coming in the door, which I like competition. It's healthy, but a lot of people are chasing that bottom dollar, and that's not me. I don't sell that anyway, so they're not my client anyways. I would have lost them to somebody else just if it was cheaper. But my focus is people who care enough about having it right.
Yeah, which over the course of the years, you and I have known each other long enough to know like that's what you guys pride yourself in.
It's what I want every time, every day. And when we fall short, I will walk over there and rip it all out and do it over again. So, and my guys know that, so they will. I'm coming to look, and I'm looking harder than the inspector is. So, because I care, I don't want them to have a small soffit leak at the end of that comes in and brings in too much humidity. I want them to be properly prepared. That's why we try to, when we spray foam a retro, we want to test in, test out. And you really should be identifying what you're doing to that home so that you can share that information with an HVAC contractor who can then dial in their system. It's seal tight, ventilate right. So if we're all just hitting the retro market and not thinking about the house as a whole, we could do damage to that house. Yeah. And I've seen it too many times, and I've seen people want to blame stuff for stuff, and blame foam for things. And that's great, but I want to diffuse that. I really like helping people, and for some reason this industry seems to think I have a clue. So.
You do have a clue.
I do.
A little bit.
I even got the paperwork to back it up.
Yeah, exactly. After 30 years, I'm sure you've seen a lot changes. But is there one like big change, Mark, that really stands out that's totally different from what you've seen over the years? Like one of the bigger changes that, from when you started till now?
The biggest change I've seen, like with the growth of the industry, because the science backs what we do. That a lot of people were thinking it's a quick money grab, and that there's a lot of money. So there's a big influence of who wants to do it. And because it's so easy of an industry, because insulation, when everyone thinks insulation, we think Pink Panther. We're not thinking foam. So that's what we gauge our legislation on and our restrictions on. So everyone wants to jump in. And a lot of owner operators think they know and understand what they need to do. And you got to start somewhere. So I ain't mad at you for starting, but most of these guys are in and out. They're fly by night. They last 2 years and they're out the door. So that's been kind of scary in the changes. And then obviously the HFOs but that's all been geared towards a better environment. So I gotta be behind that. So just adapting. Yeah. I'd say that's about it though on that subject.
What about the biggest changes in technology? Are you guys using some of the new technology with like?
So I got two R3 units. I got an R1 unit. The technology has let me sleep good at night. It really has. So now I can go on my phone. I can pull up the job. I can see what we did. I get a ratio report. So the R3s, even the R2s, they're phenomenal. I love how they help us see. A lot of people are like, well, I don't like Graco because it stops me. Yeah, it stops you from doing a big mistake. So it might be okay, you can turn that off too on a Graco if you want, but why would you turn off your alarms?
And these machines are helping you log, right? It's creating your daily log so you don't have to manually take in.
Still make my guys want to take it, but they actually throw that in my face. It's all in there. And it's like,
yeah, buddy, but something could be wrong.
It doesn't know the batch number. It doesn't know, and I need a cross reference. So if I'm watching so I've never seen a machine say I use different amounts of A and B. I've never seen that. And I guarantee you I'm using different amounts of A and B. And it changes based on imbalances and humidity and viscosity. All of these things factor in. So for it to say that I have equal gallon usage is a lie in of itself.
True.
Because there's a problem
there. There's a problem.
Yes. It should tell me what's flowing through it, but I understand there's only one or two systems that are capable of that, but they're more gear driven and they don't handle open cells as well. They don't handle emulsive recipes as well. So I'm an open cell market. So I want equipment that processes open cell best.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For me, Graco's been that company.
Yeah. Is that all your guys' machines are Gracos?
Everything's Graco. I did have a beautiful Turkish rig, AGT, great company, great piece of equipment. But I wasn't utilizing it yet. And it was just sitting there collecting dust. So I pretty much gave it to a friend so that it would get some exposure. Because it is a really nice piece of equipment. Very comparable to a PMC. Easy to work on. All the parts are sourceable. There's lots of good equipment. Just because I like Graco doesn't mean it's the best. It's the best for me. I know how to work on it with my eyes closed. I just have to adapt to a few things, but the pumps are still the same.
Yeah.
So if I need to change a pump, I still need to pop that pin out, and I still need to do this, and I still need to do that, and I need to disconnect this first. But it's not rocket science in my book, and I think Graco makes it simple to troubleshoot because literally I get a QR code, I scan it, and then it takes me to the page in the manual where it tells you about that trouble, and then it gives you the solutions immediately. So it's like, it could be these things. Look here. And, you got to start at the smallest problem, which is 99% of the time your gun. It's the problem's in your gun. It can go beyond your gun. So I've had problems in manifolds, problems in the hose, problems everywhere throughout the line. I've had lines go bad. We just lost a whip because we loaded a seated drum back onto the truck. We did a pour over. And somebody put in a little bit of water because you could see the difference in the A. And they didn't say anything about it by the time the rig got on the truck. So when it did get on the truck, they used it, and since it's already seating, it's crystallizing. And I'm like, guys, let's dive through this. Let's figure it out. Check your Y screens. Oh, we did that. When did you do that? Oh, last Friday. Check your Y screens. Yeah. And then they thought they got it, but they didn't just let us go through the whole troubleshooting process, and they rushed back to the gun, figured they could spray through the problem. And I'm like, first of all, you got to get out of that drum. You got to move it over. And then it was a weekend had lapsed. We got on there. We were training a new project manager, and he kind of dropped the ball. But I got to let people trust to a point, and it took me a minute to recognize. So it was actually after the weekend, and then Monday they're having a problem. And I'm like, we kept him at the shout, and I said, it's got to be this. And it was. As soon as we got out of that drum, moved over, sprayed him beautiful again. So.
Nice. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of the experience. That's what it sounds like to me, Mark, is your many years of being in this business. You have the experience. The newer guys are wanting to rush through it like,
yeah,
no. And you're like, no, let's slow down and make sure we got the problem fixed. Hey, Foam fam, real talk. You're up early in attics, busting your butt all day. Is your Google business profile sleeping? If your name isn't showing up when people are searching spray foam near me, then you're losing out on jobs to Chuck and his rusty van. We over here at Spray Foam Genius Marketing will fix that for you. From SEO to Google business profiles to websites. Yeah, we do all that nerdy stuff. This way, you stay booked solid. If you want more leads without getting the bad ones, hit us up at sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com and let's turn your foam into fortune.
I've had too many troubleshooting times with Wendell Gossett on the phone or with another tech on the phone throughout my years that they always take it back and they take it slow.
Yeah.
And we look at this and we look at this. We don't rush to the extreme. And sometimes you're going to look at 4 different things before you try something because you want to eliminate everything. Because if you go and you get suited back up, you go back to spraying, you go back to this, you don't rush to bet that. You want to spray, you want to bring your hose back out, you want to watch your gauges. Luckily we can do it on our phone, but you want to see how those are all interacting and what's occurring before you say you got a clean bill of health and you can spray again. Because you can get, it triggered great, it's beautiful, but then your gauges are all looking sloppy and you don't know it because you're not looking at it. Mm-hmm. So you gotta take the time to look through that problem because you can't pull through a problem. And the hardest thing I've had to do with new guys is teach them when to not pull the trigger. I got 15 reasons on my checklist to not pull the trigger. And there's only one of them I tell them to not pay attention to, and that's about the access size restriction. I'm like, nope, if you can get in there, if you can't get in there, dig it. So, but
yeah. But most of the time, that's as a sprayer, that's the only thing they want to do is pull the trigger, and you have 15 reasons not to.
That's it. They always want to. That's all they want to do. And
like
we got to not pull trigger.
Yeah.
We got to look at and assess the job, but we got to remember that we ain't making any money right now. Mm-hmm. So yes, we want to get back to trigger, and as owners, we kind of push that sometimes. Just get her done. I've heard that so many times. But they don't supply the equipment. So I go through probably more polycarbs than I've ever seen any company go through because I remember what it was like having a bad polycarb or a bad side seal. So, and they go quick. That's the piece that gets all the friction. So, and sometimes you can just have it slightly cockeyed. You can have a little chunk come through on the ISO because somebody doesn't want to seal their ISO drums. And then you get ISO mix in there. That's a crystal. Boom. Now it's just scarred your mixing chamber or the polycarb. So they do go bad at times. I mean, I think they're worth 2 sands, but my guys will argue that. And they're like, I need a new one every day. And you're like, no, you don't need new polycarbs every day.
Oh man.
One set a month is all you should really need. But.
Yeah. Well, I know after all these years, Mark, you've had a ton of lessons that you've learned, but is there one that stands out that has changed the way that you guys currently run your guys' business? My
biggest change that I've had to adapt to is my employee management. Coming off being a owner operator who had his son dragging a hose, keeping it simple, keeping it tight, to now I have to trust everybody to do stuff. Sometimes I can micromanage, and I've lost some extremely competent and capable guys over the years because of my own ignorance and me being an asshole. I mean, I'm an asshole. I'm going to be an asshole no matter what. Yeah. But I got to make sure that I'm delivering it respectfully, just like I expect. Yep. And I'm working on it, and I'm not the perfect at it. And Monday's the worst day possible, so I try to tell guys, I'm going to come in late on Monday. You get the fuck out. But you get out the door, so I don't yell at you. because I'm coming in from a weekend of all my problems. And my weekends is reading the emails. What did we do wrong last week? What do I have to fix? And I'm getting all of these so people call you on Sunday when there's a problem. So I have all these things, and I'm not sending anybody out there on Sunday. I'll go out there myself if necessary. But usually it's okay. It's a Monday waiting problem. So I'm walking in the door going, I'm down $6,000 last week. That's tough. It's literally tough to swallow.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
It happens.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose money. And then if you're not treating your guys the right way, they're going to get spiteful. And then they're going to not take the time, or they're going to ignore the lessons that you've been trying to teach them. So patience for me has been the hardest thing to learn for change. I know it's my biggest weakness and has hampered my growth, and why we're only still a $3 million company, not a $6 million company.
Yeah.
I got to learn to get out of my way. There is, at the end of the day, nothing to it but to do it. Just make sure you understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's very important. In July, I lost over 30 grand in improper chemical management, equipment failure repairs because of whips. And I contribute that a lot of it to guys being a little rougher on things or not paying attention because I'm stressing them out. I'm not letting them do their thing. And this is where my son's comes into play. He's cool-headed and he understands the science. And he's like, Dad, I'll deal with them. You go look at numbers and go get mad. And I'll talk to him. And because I don't yell at my son. And I did enough of that when he was younger, and he's a good kid. But I don't do it. I treat him as my equal. He is, he's 21 years old. He's a man, and I treat him as such, and I respect his opinion. So, and he's not wrong. Same thing my daughter always said. Dad, you just shut up. We'll go talk to him about it because it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It did. It cost a couple $1,000, but
I think Mark. I think as owners, CEOs of companies, we're really close to the money piece, and I know that money doesn't, it's not the only thing, and it does frustrate when it is a little frustrating when you feel like, hey, these guys aren't buying in as much as me, meaning they're out, they just lost me the X amount of money, and from a perspective of your son, even though it is his father's business and maybe eventually will be his, I think it's a little bit easier of a pill to swallow because he doesn't have all that weight. So I want to be fair because I know that it sounds like you're having and you're almost 50, you're knocking on the door of 50, myself as well. We sound like we're in similar places. We can be a little bit hot-headed when it comes to stressful things, but I think it's smart. If your son's level-headed, he's not as close to the fire. He can handle the guys a little bit better, and they probably respond to him a little bit better. And then they can have the conversation like, yeah, I'm glad you came and talked with me. If your dad would talk to me, he might have been an asshole. And yeah, I'm, and it sounds like, honestly, like the perfect passing of the torch when that eventually happens.
I think it is as well. I just wish I would have learned to do it better myself. So
yeah, but still
sometimes getting out of your way is the best thing possible.
You still have time, man. That's the thing. That's what's great about life and where we're at is there's I don't want to say there's always tomorrow, but there's tomorrow that you can make changes and you realize, the first part of making change is realizing that there's an issue. And us making
you want
changes.
to live like there's no tomorrow, but you want to plan like there is.
Yeah, that's a
if
great.
You're not prepared for tomorrow, you're not going to be a happy camper.
Yeah, and honestly, you and I talked about this pre-show. Dealing with team members is probably the hardest part of being a business owner. There's not a manual like you're talking about the Graco. You just scan this QR code, it's going to take me to this page and tell me what the problem is. Now, I mean, if we as humans had QR codes walking around, Mark, and telling us our personality type and how we respond, and hey, I don't respond to somebody yelling at me. I respond to people talking to me in this way, or I do respond to somebody chewing my ass. That's going to really get fire under my butt. You know what I mean? Like everybody's so freaking different. And I know some people are money motivated. Some people are time motivated. They just want some time off. Sometimes people are motivated by, hey, a free lunch. Hey, I'll buy you a beer after work. Whatever they're motivated by. Like, everybody's different, man. And trying to figure out those buttons, it's the hardest freaking part. So don't be so hard on yourself when it comes to team members and employees. Like, it's the hardest part of what we do, I think. And there's been some other podcast guests that have mentioned, like, it's the people, man. It's the people I struggle with, because everybody's so different that that's the most challenging piece of the business. So, yeah, I mean, it's good to hear that you realize that that's the toughest situation is the people folks out there,
learning your limits are definitely a necessity when you want to grow. So
and knowing you can't do it all on your own, which is kind of that double-edged sword, right? You're saying, hey, if I could get out of my way, we'd be a $6 million company, but I haven't been able to. So we're only 3, but I'm learning to get out of my way. And so that I can grow, and I'm, getting everybody on board, all these great employees that want to work for me. And I've lost some good ones along the way because I was an asshole. It's like all this self-reflection, man.
Well, I look at accountability for everything in life. Is what part did I take in that? It doesn't matter if it was a successful moment or a bad moment. What part or lack of action, what did I do or not do? And I always look back into myself, because at the end of the day, this is the only person I can control, and the only person that I can get to do what I want. If you're not looking inside, how are you going to fix you? Because I wake up every day just wanting to be better than I was yesterday. I'm not striving for the end of the world, but I have goals, and and that's part of getting there is getting up every day and dealing with those struggles and those stresses and not trying to roll away from them. It's also important to find balance, work-life balance. I get a little jealous when I see you in the woods, because that's my favorite place as well too. I can get lost in some foliage and just. Oh man.
I'm
good.
I never understood this tree hugger kind of like derogatory term when I was growing up. I never ever really understood that. And then I found the woods and how much it's healed me, and it's just my place. And I'm like, oh, I get this now. I'm like, I'm a tree hugger.
To the basics.
I'm a tree hugger. Yeah,
and you should be.
It's where
I'm a lifetime Audubon member. I mean, trees and the outdoors has been my thing my whole life. And my passion as my youth, but then I fell in love with building science, and that's where when I found that how they work together, because I think it's we spend 70% of our time indoors, so our health is greatly affected by the environment we live in. You'll live a lot longer getting some air outside.
But that vitamin D, you guys got a lot of that down there in Florida.
Yeah, too much.
A little bit too much.
It's good for business though. So it's people are always having an issue. So toughest thing is getting people to understand. Sometimes that issue is your habits. So
Well,
my wife's guilty of it.
This next question is just really about the advice that you'd give to the next generation, Mark. Like, if a younger contractor was to sit down with you right now and said, Mark, how do I build a business that lasts? What's the single most important advice you'd give him or her? Like,
stay accountable.
This thing that lasts is accountability.
Stay accountable. Always put your customer first. Don't ever stop answering your phone. If you stop answering your phone, even though it's a client who's going to complain, you're gonna damage your reputation. It doesn't really matter how much SEO work you do. I mean, it's very important that it gets done. But if you're by word of mouth, if your name isn't solid, people are going to find out, and it's going to shut you down quickly. Yeah. So mean what you say what you mean, and follow through with it. If I'm helping one customer, he's having an overspray, he thinks issue. We did the job 3 months ago. He sent me areas that he's talking about overspray, a little bit on a cabinet, some on a countertop. And I have pictures of the prep. We use company cam. So I have prep pictures, I have finished pictures, all these pictures. Well, they did the prep. They insisted that they cover everything. And I showed them the photos. These are the photos before we foamed. Everything was prepped. This is the photo after we foam. That prep's still up. So for foam to get on it is impossible. It would have to occur, and what I believe it to be is paint off of a roller. They pull down the plastic. Oh, I got to catch this spot. Boom, now they got a spatter. And that's why it's so infrequent. But without discoloration, it can't be foam. Overspray turns yellow. It's how thin it is. It turns color. I've had little itty bitty tiny specks of yellow on a black window that someone's nailed me on, So we know it's not, but I'm holding my customer's hand, making sure he understands why it's not foam, what the solution is, and how we are here to help him, but we're also not really at fault.
Yeah. So, you did mention a couple really important things I want to touch on, which is, doesn't matter how good your SEO is or your marketing, if you're not out there doing exactly what Mark says, which is backing up your reputation, especially when so many freaking people are so quick to go and leave a bad review for somebody. I mean, I see it all the time, Mark. It's just human nature. I understand it's human nature to like, oh man, you could have had 10 places that you had great experiences with. You don't leave a 5-star rating at all, but you have that one negative one. And next thing you know, you're blasting this company, right?
Yeah.
And it's so sad, but you're absolutely right when it comes to making sure that you're doing the best that you can. Even like a situation like you're talking about, like this isn't on us, but I'm going to make sure that this guy, I'm not going to get in a pissing match and say, that's not us. Go screw off. I can tell you that's not me. We did a great job. Like you could have done that. And maybe Mark 1.0 or 2.0, this guy that you're, that you used to be might've done this, but the new Mark is out there making sure that your customers understand, making sure that you're doing the best job you can, and explaining to them, because that they're going to tell probably 10 friends and family members that are going to use you guys in the future.
No, absolutely. It's the only way to stay sustainable. It truly is. You got to stand behind yourself. And I tell people it's on the mark for a reason. And if Mark doesn't look at it, then does that mean it's on the mark? So Mark's going to come look at it and figure it out. I
mean, it is a catchy play on your name and the business. I've always loved it. I didn't realize that on the mark meant that Mark inspected every job, which is impressive.
Well,
hey, spray foam contractor, imagine if there was a button on your phone that you could hit that said more jobs. You press it and boom, leads start coming in, calls start ringing. And now finally, you're not wondering where's your next customer coming from. That's basically what Spray Foam Genius Marketing does. We optimize your Google business profile and your SEO and your website so that when people are ready to buy from you, you come up at the top of the Google search. More visibility, more calls equals more jobs. No weird contracts. And go ahead and check out sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com so that we can get your genius button installed today. You're not just a contractor, you're a CEO of a spray foam business. But if you're not getting found online, you're still playing small. Spray Foam Genius Marketing takes your business from meh to magnetic. Want to grow like a CEO? Book your strategy call today at sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com.
I would say at least 90% of the jobs I'll go back to. Especially on our retro applications. So a lot of times I'm going to do a blower door test at the end of it. And then I'm going to jump up in the attic with my thermal imaging camera, and I can see real quickly within 10 minutes, I can do a 10-minute walk around the attic. I can identify if we messed something up.
Wow.
And I offer that to 99% of my customers. I actually insist upon it on some.
Do they get some type of printout or something with all this data that you collect?
So they get a certificate stating that what's the communication to the outdoors, their ACH per hour, and then for a comprehensive energy audit, I'll go in there and I will give them all that data, all the data as far as the environment, the positioning of the home, the temperatures that we are basing our scale off of because we're in climate zone 2. So that basic data, but that's pretty generic. But your ambient temperatures, things like that are occurring right now while I perform the test. But air changes per hour and identifying the air infiltration is what we're really looking at. So once you capture that number, that's the only data that they need to share with maybe an HVAC company. It's like, hey, I got this house. I'm at 7 ACH. Odds are I'm at a negative pressure and outside air is just pushing into my home because it's so loose. Maybe you can ramp up the CFMs coming through the air handler, speed that up to try to create a positive pressure, or we can seek work scopes that we can help them with. So the thermal imaging camera allows you to see the leakage and identify it. So I don't go in every home going, do spray foam. Well, most of my homes, I go in and I preach air sealing top plates and blowing in, maintaining your current envelope because it can get costly. And I want people to see an ROI. I want there to be a return on investment. Yep. So spray foam is not always that answer. Someone comes in and said, I have buckling wood floors. What would you do to my crawl space? I would spray it with close-up. So that's what I would do. And it's the only thing I'll do on a crawl space. Anything within 5 feet of grade, I don't feel comfortable doing anything else. But 5 feet is my cutoff line. But I've seen it not work. Because you're not addressing the other air infiltration that's occurring in the house. You got sill plates that leak. You can have a vaulted ceiling with poor leakage on the registers and on the every can light. And that's what Florida does is they cut like 90 holes in the ceiling. It's Swiss cheese. So that's our pressure plane. So if I see a lot of that and I see condensation, that's where I might recommend spray foam to be the answer. And it depends on their budget. If they tell me, well, I don't care, I want spray foam. If they can get it and it's a healthy choice, I will give them spray foam. But, and that's where a lot of people rush to. But I don't push anything. Like when I go to a customer, I don't sell you anything. I am only there to educate you on your home and my experience on what your home is doing. I'll explain that, and then I'll give you scopes of work. Not all of them are us. Sometimes it's an HVAC recommendation that you need to talk to an HVAC professional. Sometimes you need to talk to a drywaller. You need to talk to a carpenter. Usually it's either something we can provide or something they can do themselves as well. Like you can put little foam pads inside of your outlets to help stop the air infiltration from coming instead of tearing your whole wall apart trying to seal those 4 holes in the back, which aren't getting sealed in 90% of jobs. I mean, we try to new construction. We try to can foam behind every outlet, regardless of bat or whatever, just because I'm trying to air seal it. But if you got an outlet on a 2x8 cavity, I guarantee you I'm not filling it 6 inches full of foam. Nobody is. So are you getting it on the backside of the duct on the thing? But most of these homes don't have that. Florida didn't have insulation inspections till 2003. So we have top plates that bleed like crazy. And still to this day, they still don't enforce top plate gaskets like Energy Star does. Unless it's an Energy Star product, we have no top plate gaskets, except in the homes we fiberglass. It's part of our package. But it's not something the client will want to pay for. I mean, I do charge them for it, but I can't say I'm charging for that line item. That line item's free. I just put the price in the phone or in this somewhere else, wherever I needed to put it. So it's compensated, but they have to look at it. It's like it's a freebie. I'm just giving it to you because you need it. But code doesn't enforce it. There's no one saying it has to be there, but it's single-handedly 40% of our energy loss occurs through air infiltration. This is verifiable information throughout the Department of Energy, Oak Ridge Laboratories, Intertech. All of these people have all said that this is the number. So that's huge. So if we can reduce and eliminate the air infiltration in of itself, we're going to benefit the home probably the greatest. I mean, we all want that R value argument, but foam works better because of the air sealing argument. That's what makes it better. It's an air impermeable product that that no matter where you put it, it is in contact with the pressure plane. It is in contact with the air barrier because it is the air barrier. So, and a lot of people don't understand that. Now, it's supposed to be flush with the foam. No, or with the drywall. That's fiberglass. Fiberglass should be flush and full, cavity full. Foam, you can have a little bit of a void there, and that actually is a healthier thing with like open cell when you're looking at diffusion, because you want it to diffuse through, not run smack into a vapor barrier, which is the drywall with paint, which is pretty minimal of a vapor barrier, but that's all you see in Florida. So, but that's even can be enough to cause condensation, which is going to occur on the warm side of the cold substrate. So it's going to happen inside the wall assembly. So if we don't do a full fill and shave, we're actually going to allow for a condensation path to move so that air can go to where it needs to be, to where it's being mitigated and managed by the mechanical system or released to the outside. Newer codes are starting in 2024. They're looking to add vapor diffusion ports to attic assemblies. Something that everybody needs to get on board with and understand what is a vapor diffusion port, and how does it work and how will it apply for your climate zone, because they want to have some type of release, because ultimately a family of 4 is going to generate a gallon of water per day. Now let's take into pets, let's take into opening doors, going crazy, having a very loose crawl space, a loose home. Moisture is going to enter into that space. And where's it going to go? Well, it naturally wants to go up because that's where hot air wants to go. But hot air is going to go the path of least resistance. It's going to push that humidity back at you. So this is where spray foam can air seal everything up, make it a little bit healthier environment so that you can control it mechanically. A lot of people say, well, I got to get an ERV. Yeah, you do. That's part of ventilating properly. Is you want to have fresh air intake. You want to have some type of heat transfer, moisture transfer that's sucking that air out, or you're going to need a whole house dehumidification system. So if you don't want to rush to that level, pay the $1,000 for the ERV, pay the guy the labor to install it, and be happy, knowing that your home is dialing itself in based on its current circumstance. Every home knows that in winter we have a cold season, the home's going to react differently. So vapor pressure is going to change. We still have an inward drive, but it's not as great. This is why we don't see high humidity issues in the summer or wintertime. But in the summertime, everyone's like, my humidity's crazy. Come fix it. My AC says they're great. Well, odds are it is. Could be a static pressure issue, but maybe just moisture's not entering, or too much moisture's coming from too many other directions. So it's something else that we offer to the customers. Seal your windows. These are simple things you can do yourself so they understand. And I am always selling, but I'm selling them on me and my knowledge and my ability to help their home. And I've helped more homes than I've hurt. So
yeah, actually, that's great.
It's a good thing.
What's Mark, it sounds like what you were talking about initially was a hybrid model. Is that correct? Like spray foaming in the ceiling and then blow in or bat like the rest of it, because you're trying to help out. Not like you said, not everybody wants an expensive installation bill if they can't afford it. What's the percentage of jobs that you guys do that you would say is like a hybrid? Is that
hybrid is probably of new construction jobs? The hybrid is probably 60-70%. Because if you're on an exterior wall assembly and your hurricane clips and all these other components that you have to pass framing, that roof ain't going anywhere. It's tied together. It's pretty tied together. Foam will help and reduce uplift and wind uplift since it's not traveling through there. But at the end of the day, it's still going to hold on. Window or exterior walls, you have an air barrier in place. You have an exterior sheathing. That's a true air barrier. It's sufficient. As long as you don't have a bunch of holes in it, it works. And our value of fiberglass in a 2x6 wall assembly and our value of open cell foam, both being installed properly, is identical. So why spend the extra money?
Yeah.
There's no need for it because the R value's identical and it's properly air sealed. It's a 6-sided assembly. It's literally what we see in testing for R value testing. It's done in a isolated box, no air movement, no convection heat movement, no radiant heat present, and just doing conductive heat flow through a substrate into the next space. But as soon as you add airflow, R value diminishes. But if a wall assembly is a sealed assembly, I don't need to sell them foam there. I do need to give them foam in their attic, around their rim joist if they're a 2-story home, and anything underside, because these are the most places that you see fiberglass fail. Fiberglass in a band joist, you just see guys put there. They don't even have wood blockers. It's just wide open, and they put a piece of fiberglass, and just moisture comes in through homes. I did a Tampa Bay Buccaneers home. It was just insane moisture coming into his home. We sealed it up. They had a contractor cut the drywall open. We sealed it up. His home's much healthier now. And just coming in through the band joist. Code is kind of catching up on having a backing on walls and attic walls and things like that, but they're not Energy Star compliant. They're not true air barriers. If you're not in a 6-side assembly like an attic space, foam is the only way to go, in my opinion, if you want to manage everything. And since all of our ductwork is inside of an attic and we chop all these holes in our ceiling, we want that thermal barrier to be to the exterior. Because one, now we're only insulating against outside temperature, not 150-degree attic temperatures. So there are value requirements that we need to, in order to achieve sufficient cooling of a home and allow a home, a mechanical system to cool it, is less. Yeah. So, but where they need fiberglass, they need this super high R value because it only achieves 67% of its stated R value in that situation. So if they focused on air sealing, we'd have a lot less to do with it. So I would say definitely 60% is hybrid for sure. High-end money, the guys don't care. They don't care. So,
well, and it's interesting. You mentioned you guys had to fix a Tampa Bay Bucks house. I mean, it's crazy to think that it doesn't matter really how much money you paid for your home, that it may not be done correctly. And they're going to have to bring in a guy like yourself.
It's funny because I go to a player's house and it's so extravagant and they got all this young money and everything. And then I go to an owner's house and it's so modest. And it's like, wow, this is the guy that should have the $1 billion home. I mean, literally last week I was in an owner's house and it's just amazing. It's just like, they're so modest and they're renovating and they're not wasting a dollar on things and they're trying to do things right. But it's just funny how that money exchanges in my brain. So. I'm proud that I've been able to work on both of their homes.
Are the Bucks still owned by the Glazers?
Yeah.
Man, 2 decades later since I was down there, it was owned by, I think it was the dad at the time. Yeah. Now it's just the son.
And you have the 2 sons. The funniest part is when the guy told me about it, he said, "Oh, it's the owner of Manchester United's house." And I'm like, I'm not a soccer fan.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait a minute. The guy that owns them owns Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm like, oh, that's top priority house. Let's take care of it.
Yeah, for sure.
He did a hybrid.
Oh, he did.
We did balconies in spray foam to meet code, but everything else was done in fiberglass because that's the way the house was originally done. And that was an unnecessary expense. You don't need to rip everything apart to make a house healthy. And we were able to help them improve certain things, baffles, things like that they were lacking in. So it should be a much more comfortable home.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait for you guys to hear the feedback once he, goes through some of this hot weather with a proper healthy house and what happens, Mark, one of the things that we always love to discuss on the Foam to Fortune podcast is the topic of regulation. Now, I know you've been around long enough that you have an opinion. I know for sure because I know who you are. But for me, exactly. Anybody knows Mark knows he has an opinion on it. For me, it's interesting to look at what you guys do and from an outsider, from just a guy that doesn't know jack about anything. and to know that there's not somebody that's saying, hey, you guys have to have this barrier of entry. You have to have passed this. You have to have this accreditation. You have to have this license or whatever the case is. And it's crazy. Like, you guys are legit chemists. I always joke and I say, you guys pull up to a job site, you're doing like one of these, like
we are.
We're
checking our phone for ambient temperatures, humidity. Where's the sun coming from? Which side of my house am I going to start at? How's it going to react to my foam? How's it going to change throughout the day?
Yeah,
it's insane that it's an unregulated trade.
Yeah, really. And like when the plumber comes to my house, he's not doing half of that. When the HVAC guy comes to my house, he's not doing half that either. And to think that both those niches are heavily regulated compared to spray foam, it's super interesting. So in an ideal world, in a Mark Gordos's perfect world, what would regulation look like? What does that look like to you?
So I'm a big believer in like the SBFA and what they offer. They really have tried to raise the bar and get us interested in it. And they're trying to do it for our protection, because if legislation does come into play, the government is going to look for a plug and play solution. And who are they going to call to the table? They're going to call the SBFA to the table. Yeah. They are the guys that talk to the government for us. They are the ones that legislate for us. They are the ones that help us come up with a grassroots plan, and we all got to get behind it, but they'll organize it for us. They do so much to try to help us become better stewards of the industry. Almost to the point, I've gotten free tickets to stuff. They're like, nope, you need to be a part of this. And it's like, okay, you're right. I want to be a part of it. But we can only self-regulate so much. I am not going to ever ask my government to come in and regulate me. Do we need them to? Yeah, a little bit. Just because there's a lot of hot shots out there. A lot of fly-by-nights. You know what? You don't have to know anything to get started in this business. You can learn it. And as long as you take the time and learn it, like that female, Candace, maybe her name?
Courtney Sanders.
Yeah. Her story was very inspiring, and she was on point, and she's right. You don't got to be anything special. You just got to be willing to learn it. And it's not rocket science, but it is building science. And having a basic understanding of thermodynamics is important. You need that for all insulation. But the history of the world, or at least Florida, we didn't even have insulation inspections till 2003. So insulation is just now, and energy efficiency is becoming important. Well, now we have this superior product, and we just haven't caught enough people haven't complained to their congressman. If you really want legislation, complain to your congressman, but it needs to stay at a local level, in my opinion. I do not want the federal government involved in it. Each individual state, we all have different climate zones. We all have different, even some states have multiple climate zones. So you're going to want different governing bodies that will enact those rules. I have one county I live in that I'm based out of. It requires certificate of competency. So I have to test. I have to know code. I have to understand business. And you have to take all of these tests before you're allowed to operate in that county. But I got my neighboring counties that don't require it, because the state of Florida doesn't require it. So I know there's other states that see it differently. But it needs to be done on a local level. I might be a conservative for the most part, but that's because I don't want government interaction. When I was broke, I wanted free stuff, but I'm not broke anymore. So no more free stuff.
I think in general, nobody wants really the government to get involved, but I think they have to have like a little bit of a play in it. Like, I don't want some suit coming to some Washington DC suit telling Mark how to run his business. I think that's silly, because majority of these guys don't know anything about spray foam. On the flip side of things, I think a little bit of barrier entry, a little bit of regulation would be great, but that comes from you guys, the legends of this business, that's setting everything up so that it's better for the next generation. You ever look at a job that somebody else landed and think, they hired him? Are you serious? That's what happens when your Google profile doesn't show up. Or even worse, it shows up but has no photos, no reviews, and has an outdated phone number from 2009. Spray Foam Genius Marketing fixes that. We get your business found by people who are ready to buy. Don't lose another job to somebody that is half as good as you. Hit us up here at sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com and we'll help you get to the top. We had a guy call us last month and said he hadn't had a lead in over 3 months. Turns out his Google business profile was unclaimed, had 0 photos, and he didn't even know what SEO was. Fast forward, we fixed it, we optimized it, and he booked 6 jobs in just 2 weeks. And guess what? He called it free money. Spray Foam Genius Marketing turns online crickets into booked jobs. So go check us out at sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com and get out of the no lead zone.
We document everything. I mean, my guys hate how much I get on their case for doing paperwork. I need the batch numbers. I need to know humidity. But we need to get, I said, that's what your helper's for. Tell them to collect the data. It's not that hard to collect the data. You do your thing. Your helper will collect the data once, because he's free. You know he is. He's standing there holding a broom half the time waiting for somebody to make a mess so I can go clean it up. Yeah. So he's like, what do I do next? Well, fill out this paperwork. Capture this data. We need this data, because how else can we prove that we made our foam and did our due diligence? When I call a manufacturer and say I have a problem with the foam, I send them this document. They immediately look at it and they say, you're within parameters. Let us check our batches. And they take it seriously. And 90% of the time, I get a replacement set. Only one time I've not gotten it, and that's because it wasn't truly warranted. It turned out we were overheating the chemical. And then once I opened it up the next day, it was fine. But you'd learn.
How many times has the log kind of saved your butt in maybe a potential lawsuit? Or something like that, to where you're like, hey, I have all my numbers, everything's good. Has there been a time where you guys it's really saved your butt?
The only lawsuits I've had it only with the manufacturer.
Oh, okay.
So like I said, when I send it to the manufacturer, they're like, he's got his data. They don't argue it. They don't look at applicator error as much.
Yes.
Doesn't mean it's not applicator error. And I had that one off that proved that. But they, as far as like homeowners, I've never been sued for bad foam. We've broken some fire sprinkler pipes that cost me a lot of money, like $250,000. So thank God for insurance. But that was a new guy. So building my team and building my trust, I sent a new salesman to a job site. So our policy is if there's any active water pipes in the attic space, they must be depressurized. We don't want to walk an attic and catch a pipe and make a water mess, especially when it's a PVC pipe that I can fix for $2. So I can break a pipe and fix it, no problem. But if all that water gets everywhere, we have a problem. So we want to prevent that. One guy's, they caught it. They saw that there was PVC. They turned off the water. The homeowner didn't follow the rules, so we turned it off. But they didn't pay attention that the fire sprinkler suppression lines are on a separate setup. Oh. So when they navigated the attic, one, the salesman never told me they existed. Two, my sprayer decided while he was doing the extraction that he could work around it, keep everybody out of the attic. And he was right. He was literally 5 minutes away from the attic access, but there was a couple bats that were in there that he threw towards the access, and he told the guy to come get it. So instead of reaching in and grabbing it out, he jumped in and was going to throw it down. Well, the fire suppression lines were right on the floor joist, or the ceiling of the trusses, the bottom truss cord. Snap, boom, 2 townhomes flooded.
Oh my gosh.
What are you going to do? So I owned it. The customer left me a great review. No, they did. They did.
That's funny.
So I stood behind it, walked them through the whole process, stuff happens. Sometimes it happens. I'm sorry, but it happened. And
Yeah.
ultimately, it was spelled out in my contract, and my insurance company could have argued it, but they didn't. And I told them I'm not going to bring it to their attention. It's highlighted, it's there, it says, but they didn't say a word. I'm like, if they'll pay for it, I'm good. I'll let them pay for it. And they did. But I could have argued 1 second. That's not my responsibility, not our wrong. Nope, we didn't do it. But I took the hit. It hurt. And it got me a good review though.
Oh God, you guys listen to this. Whenever that you get kicked in the balls, you sometimes have to just take it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you just suck it up and move forward, baby. So, and that's probably a tough lesson to learn, and trusting on the guys is they're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
I made mistakes, and I get frustrated, and that's been my biggest challenge. And
the only thing you ask, Mark, I'm sure, is the famous Einstein. They say Einstein said this: the definition of insanity is doing things twice and expecting different results. Right?
I fired my company 3 times.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I know so many people that I can rebuild it really quick. But literally, I fired my entire staff and gone back to just me and except my office manager, and took us back a couple times. Now I slowly bring some of them back, and you know, it's like, all right, did you learn your lesson? It's like, I'm serious about this stuff. Like, if I have to be there to hold your hand, then I'm just gonna spray it.
Yeah, why it doesn't make sense to pay you.
You want me selling. You want me fishing. You want me doing other things, because I promise you, I am always looking for a way to make another dollar, be it foam, be it real estate, be it dirt, whatever. If it can make $1, I'm looking at it. And this is all the stuff that supports our company and keeps us all in good graces. And I do things that some homeowners or some business owners would not even dare to do for their employees. And I get told constantly, Mark, you're too generous. You're doing too much. They're taking advantage of you. You need to stop doing that. They're taking advantage of you. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to let a bad egg ruin it. I said, somebody did me a favor once a year into this business, and I was so damn grateful. I gave them 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
I don't expect that from somebody. I don't expect them to do what I did. But I'm happy that I gave that guy that time. I was so grateful for what he did for me. It helped me. So I try to give that same freedom to some of my guys until they take advantage of me. But, I help them out. I help with housing, a subsidized living cost, anything I can do. I can only pay you so much labor. There's only so much in a ticket. And that's what they got to understand that. I can just give it away. We got to earn it, and we all got to do our part. So trusting them to do their part, because they know it and they will do it. I just gotta coach them properly.
Yeah, and I know that you're not just a bunch of talk, Mark. I know a couple guys that work for you, and I mean, they back this up. Your heart, the way that the way that you treat your teammates, your team members, the guys that are in those attics on a daily basis, like those guys. I know Stuart's been on the show with us, and he literally told me spray foam saved his life.
It did.
And that's so freaking powerful to even hear. I didn't even like when he first said that, it was hard for me to wrap my head around it. Like, what does he really mean? And obviously, not only is he saying spray foam saved his life, but Mark saved his life. And we're on this planet. A lot of us are on this planet to make a difference, right? To know, like, when our time is over, that we made a difference. And I know for sure that you're one of those guys that are making differences. So
I'm trying. I got to make my mark on this world, so everyone remembers me someday.
Yeah, on the mark. Not only by the company name, but also his words to live by.
Coming soon to a home near you.
Yeah. Mark, as we wrap up the show, I know you're always one of these guys. You're I don't know if you will take the title an OG, a legend. I know you've been around for a long time. the guys that are on Spray Foam Worldwide, they know you because you're constantly there to help and answer questions. Not only are you there to do that, but you're also there to gatekeep. I remember when I was first getting my business up and going in the Spray Foam, man, you were like a pit bull at the front door guarding
Two
it.
people asked questions about you. I said, I'm on it.
Yeah. So with that being said, man, like there's probably a lot of folks that will want to connect after the show, like people that may already know who Mark is, some that just know of the name and the legend, the folklore that follows you. How do they get in touch with you, man? Like, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Best way to get in touch with me is to call me.
All right.
You call me on my cell phone. I'm going to answer it, or I'm going to call you back. 727-331-7166. I don't know if you want that on the whole web world, but
yeah, of course.
I am always willing to help somebody out. They can DM me. I had to get help myself, and knowing who you can go to has helped. I mean, I am on the Mark Spray Foam, but I believe I'm a steward of my industry.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I was helped, and it's my job to help people back. The community that Spray Foam Worldwide has created is amazing, and it literally changed my life. It made me believe in myself, because I saw all these other people who were trying it, and I'm like, well, I got all the pieces, and they fell in my lap: a borrowed rig and a $4,000 deposit check. And that's how I started. And now I have a multi-million-dollar company that I'm trying to hand over to my family, so they can continue the legacy, and I can get me a salary for the rest of my life. Hopefully. So I don't know if I haven't told them that part yet.
They're not aware of the salary for life yet.
Yeah, and I can go live with mom,
but
it's opened up a lot of doors to us. Now we have investments, we have properties, things that can build generational wealth is what my goal is at this point.
I love it.
Keep it. I'm battling that keep it small or grow phase, but we'll figure it out. I know my son has instilled a dream in me. He wants to be a $150 million company, and I'm like, that takes a lot of work. We're gonna have to do gutters. We're gonna have to do closets. So I said, that's more of a construction company and an all around, but that's what True Team does. True Team does all of that. And I do something relatively close to it, but I'm not the gutter company. I sub it to them. And I'm not the Harvey Glass guy. I sub it to them. So that when I come to my builders, I can bid all of this. So I can bid all of this work for them, give them this nice little package. So they only got to pay one guy, and they love it. The Lennar Homes, the David Weekleys insist upon it. So you can't do David Weekley fiberglass unless you're doing David Weekley weather barrier. Lennar Homes is still letting other people do their weather barriers. But if you ultimately want to hold somebody reliable, like the insulation company, we need to be responsible for the air sealing and for the R value as well, making sure we're achieving that R value.
Yeah. Well, Mark, it was great to have you on the show. It's always good to hear your knowledge. You guys that he gave the number out to you. Let's make sure we don't drunk dial Mark.
Stu does plenty of that. Stu, oh man, I love him to death. His heart wants to be in the right place, but that man wants to drunk text and talk business at 7 p.m. when I'm trying to go to bed. And I'm like, bro, I get up at 4.
Yeah.
When you get up at 4, you don't stay up till midnight.
They don't understand that. You still need to get your hours of sleep.
I want 8 hours. And even if it ain't sleeping, I want to be laying there thinking about numbers or work or something. But so I have this period. I don't even look at my phone. So I don't want that light to get in my eyes and to wake my brain up. But I am guilty of that damn TV. So and me and my wife will watch the programs. So
what about little blue blocker glasses before bed?
They might help. Yeah. Stop that UV light from messing my brain up. So, but too much UV and too much. I blame a lot of that on it. I'm sure it's my diabetes and living a life in perpetual dehydration. It can cause tooth loss. Don't make sure you stay hydrated. It's single-handedly the most important thing we can do. We can tolerate heat as human beings. We just have to keep putting the fluids in that are leaving us.
Yeah, and I see I mean, it's almost like the Marine Corps, you know, like it's time to rehydrate. I always see the posts on the Facebook pages like hydrate, and
Yep. Twice a year, I try to get my guys to do IV infusions. But we're in Florida; it's super hot. Getting them lined up and having the facilities because they tend to move a lot. But I'm not going to do it in the shop. Definitely going to have a medical professional administer it. But I've done them before, and we'll do them again. They got to stay alive, man. And I preach this to my guys. I am not trying to kill you. I said, yes, I may show up on the job site and be like, no, we're getting it done. I'll spray it myself. And you just have to sit there. But you're fine. Sit there, stay in the air conditioning, and I'll take care of this. And I've had guys try to take advantage of that, but then they learn that there's no money in that. If I'm spraying it, we're gonna have a problem. So,
man,
it takes out that production incentive real quick.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a perfect spot to end this, Mark. It was great having you on.
My pleasure.
You guys reach out to Mark. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's been around for a long time in this business, and he's willing to help. Eat, sleep, and foam.
Eat, sleep, foam.
That's all he does. Eat, sleep.
And the back of the shirt says DTF. So I'm down for that too. Down to foam, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure that's what everybody thought initially.
Hey, that's their brain thinking that. It is for down to foam. It's
well, I mean, majority of foamers' brains and heads are
in the gutter as well. So yeah, it worked out well.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, good chatting with you. Enjoy the rest of your night. Make sure you go get a good night's rest. Take care, brother.